We've got a special meeting of the Tulsa International Airport Development Trust. We're going to take that as soon as Commissioner Shalee comes in, because we need him for the quorum. So we will suspend the Airports Improvement Trust Airport Authority regular meeting and do that because he's got to be back downtown at 9:30. So with that, I'll call the combined special meeting of the trustees of the Tulsa Airports Improvement Trust and the meeting of the members of the Tulsa Airport Authority to order. Today is Thursday, August 12th. It's 8:30. And first item would be the approval of the minutes of the combined July 8th, 2021 meeting of Tate and TAA and the combined special meeting of Tate and TAA held on July 21st, 2021. Have a motion?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Financial reports.
I'm going to start things off and then I'll turn it over to Flavio. But we're celebrating again new air service. So we announced this week that Allegiant is going to start flying to Sarasota, Florida, December 15th, and to Phoenix Mesa Gateway Airport on November 18th. That's also the day they start flying to Austin. So it'll be a busy day here. With that announcement, we now have 25 airports that you can fly to nonstop from Tulsa, which is the most we've had ever. 22 cities, because there are a couple of cities that have 2 airports that are served. But we are just continuing to focus on those target cities. November is going to be a great month because that's also when DCA service launches in Miami. So it's getting easier and easier for people to fly directly, which is their preferred method, not having to change planes. And we're working with all of our airline partners to really promote that nonstop connection. I did want to bring you all up to date on a few things that have changed at the airport over the past week or so related to ground transportation. So we have moved Uber and Lyft pickup areas at the airport in an effort to reduce congestion on the curb. And so when you get into baggage claim now, our customers go down the escalator to the lower level, turn around and go out on the departures curb. This is something airports across the country are doing in order to alleviate congestion because the volume of Uber and Lyft or TNC vehicles has been increasing. Right now, we're only averaging about 220 TNCs a day, but back pre-COVID, we were hitting around 500 a day. And so this is kind of a preemptive measure to help reduce some of that curbside congestion. Also this week, we relaunched our valet parking service. It's a soft launch. It's a brand new team of employees. We want to give them time to become familiar with the process and everything. And we'll really be sharing that messaging with our consumers more so in September, once they have a few weeks to get on board as far as training. Other big news this week was that the Senate passed their version of the infrastructure bill. This bill is significant because it provides $25 billion for airports over 5 years, and specifically for airport terminal program improvements, which includes air traffic control towers. The bill calls out specifically improvements for airport-owned air traffic control towers. So of course, that's meaningful to us since we own our tower and we're trying to find funding to replace it. And we'll continue to follow that now as the House is reviewing the amendments and determining what the final bill will look like. We have met and have selected a firm to help us, or the committee has met and is recommending the selection of a firm that will help us with the design of the new tower. That's going to come to you all next month. But we are proceeding, the FAA is proceeding with the siting study, which we hope to complete in September. So things are moving forward with that. And then the last thing I just wanted to hit on was our aviation career exploration camp that we did with 18 girls from the region. It was our pilot program, which I like to call it. But it was a great success. We had American Airlines, Atlantic Aviation, air traffic control towers, TSA, Southwest Airlines. I mean, we learned a lot. We shared a lot with them and got great feedback. And this is something that we will continue to do as we try to grow the number of women in the aviation industry and the minority population in particular. So I want to thank Brian's team, Brian and Michelle and Patty, all helped us pull that off. And I see us doing that again soon. With that, I'll turn it over to Fabio.
Can I ask a question on
Sure.
your report? I know Senator Inhofe had submitted an earmark request. Was that for the infrastructure bill?
Yes,
Do we know if that is in the bill that passed the Senate or not?
I have not heard specifically. What I've heard is that states are each going to be allocated a certain amount of funding and
Okay.
that they are prioritizing projects based on whatever is allocated.
Okay.
So the request has been made, but we just don't know how much of that funding
But as
request.
far as it being like spelled out in the bill, it's not in
No,
there. Okay.
not to my knowledge.
Okay. Thank you.
So before you start, Fabio, keep your thoughts. I need a motion to suspend the meeting of Kate and TAA while we go to the airport trust, development trust.
So moved.
meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Dan, would you like to come up and sit as a big boy table? Since you're part of it.
Morning.
Thanks for making the trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably live the closest and here I am, the tardy one, but thank you for accommodating my schedule.
So I'll call the special meeting of the trustees of the Tulsa International Airport Development Trust to order. And if I could, first item would be the approval of the minutes of the last meeting held on May 13th, 2021.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And then we have an approved acknowledgement consent to assignment agreement between ET Tulsa, One LLC and US Bank NA.
Yeah, this is just a normal collateral assignment of the development financing agreement that the board approved at the last meeting, assigning the development agreement to US Bank NA. I think it's the St. Louis Bank. Our attorneys have reviewed the documents and based on that, I recommend approval.
Have a motion.
Move approval.
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
We
Thank you,
promise.
Sam.
I told you.
I told you we'd get you
Thank you so
downtown.
much.
today.
I know.
8:38.
So we need a motion to go back into session on Kate and TAA.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. We are back. Fabio,
Okay, I
I
can't,
hope you
be
didn't lose your thought.
that- I didn't, but I'm not gonna be that fast. So, we have unofficially closed our fiscal year end. We keep our fiscal year end open a few months into the new fiscal year so we can make any adjusting entries, and then the audit will officially close our year end. So these are preliminary unaudited fiscal year 21 numbers. We're gonna have a June to June comparative of 21 and 19 and fiscal year end 21 over 2019. So as you can see, our revenues for June to June, we came in at 3% less than we were in June of 19, which is really good. We had a strong finish to our fiscal year. Fiscal year to date activity, we're still down about 24%. That's about a $10.2 million reduction in revenues collected. Our expenses, a different story. We are 38% lower in June over June and 14% lower in 21 over 19. Back in March of 20, we really started to tighten our belts and really spend cautiously, and we carried that throughout the entire fiscal year, even once we start to see our activity pick up. March of 21, we started to notice an increase in activity, but we still played it cautiously. We weren't sure what was going to happen, and we've seen some pretty good activity come through the rest of the fiscal year. Our net operating income before depreciation still down about 35%, slightly higher than June over June because of the reduction in expenses, but fiscal year to date, we're down about 35%, about $7 million less. Our food and beverage down 40 and 61%. Year to date, we're down about $4.4 million. Our retail did exceedingly well in June, 9% higher than previous June pre-pandemic, but fiscal year to date down about $1.5 million. So collectively, those two segments are down about $6 million compared to pre-pandemic numbers. Our parking activity has picked up. We've seen a lot more activity in the garage and economy lot, and valet is open. And as of yesterday, we had 11 vehicles in inventory. So we're starting to slowly see it pick up. Our activity, however, still down 24 and 53%, and our revenues down 51% for the year. Comparative about $5.3, $5.4 million reduction in revenues. Ground transportation down about 32% in the fiscal year comparative, and our transaction days for rented cars are down about 46% in the fiscal year comparative. Operations at RVS were down 9% fiscal year to date, 34% for the month over month, and our fuel flows are up. And talking to Austin, we're seeing a lot less activity, but the jets that are arriving to fuel are larger jets. So it's volume, not quantity, that drives the fuel flow at RVS today. Down 2% for the year. Our employing passengers, 45% down fiscal year over fiscal year at about 684,000 less passengers. And our cargo is down about 8% in the fiscal year comparative. These slides here represent our revenue. We start to see the dip in our revenues as we were beginning to feel the effects in the pandemic. And 2019 is green, 2020 is the blue, and you can see in March we start to see the decline. We've since crossed over in March of 2021, and our revenues are starting to slowly gain momentum towards the pre-pandemic levels. We did have a really strong 2020 pre-pandemic, and then that kind of helped us with the momentum. The next slide is our expenses, and we have a similar trajectory current fiscal year. We were pretty much where we were in April as far as expenses, still operating below where we were in 19, but then we and that was primarily due to the snowstorm. We had a lot of maintenance and a lot of repairs and expenses that we incurred after the fact on the snowstorm, but we've really kind of kept it tight, and we're operating well below the where we were 2 years ago fiscally. Our employing passengers, as you can see, April was the worst month in 2020 for the airport in this 3-year comparative, and we're starting to gain momentum. March of 2021, spring break, and we really have just exceedingly grown in our employing passengers following the pre-pandemic trajectory of our service. We anticipate July and August being busier months, and then once school starts to go back, it'll kind of level off and follow that same wave of trajectory. A budget to actual, I mean, this is really an impressive story here. We budgeted about 22% down in our revenues anticipation of the pandemic, and we modeled several scenarios. The scenario we settled on was a 22% down, and it was a little tight, white knuckling there at some months, but at the end of the fiscal year, we're about 0.29% where we were in budget, about $94,000 higher in revenues than budget. So we really kind of threaded that needle and took our best shot, and we nailed it. Our expenses really well, 20% down, significant reduction, allowing us to have $13 million going forward to cover debt service and capital purchases when we anticipated about $8 million. So that helped us kind of alleviate the constraints on our fundings. The next slide is our comparative 2020 over 21, again unaudited, but about 13% lower in our revenues, 19% lower in our expenses. Our debt service landed right about where it was last year. We did do the refinancing, which took effect, the bulk of that in June, the refunding forward. So we have about a $4 million, I'm sorry, not a $4 million, that's about a $500,000 gap between our debt net after debt service from 20 to 21, but still down about 17% from where we were prior year. In our cash flow is the final slide. This, we have $19.1 million in liquid cash. Our budget is our 2022 budget, so it increased slightly with our capital purchases. We have a burn rate of about $71,000 per day, 268 days of cash on hand based on budget as of July 31st, 2021. We've paid 1 month's worth of our debt service, and we have about 2.5 months approximately of reserve in our debt service reserve, which is a healthy position to be in for the airport. We are working on the refinancing that we talked about last month. Seeing the bond resolutions, we have rating agency calls next week, and we're working to get towards, get on the city agenda for the 25th of August. Mike Newman, our financial advisor, is here in the audience if anybody has any questions for him.
I have a question about the last year. How is the federal money treated? Is it in the revenue number?
No, no,
Okay.
it's non-operating revenue, so it's not counted in our actual revenues.
And so we had enough federal money to close the gap then of the deficit, is that
yeah.
okay?
Yeah, it supplemented our operating expenses, allowing us to reappropriate our revenues to continue capital needs for the airport.
Do we still have some of those monies left, or?
We've utilized the first and second relief funding. We're in process of getting the third funding. I've seen some documents come across. So we have the third round of funding, which is still pending. It should be at the board approval next meeting or two, but we've used the first two fundings.
And lastly, kudos to the budgeting. Whatever the process you used is, I mean, y'all did a great job.
Thank you.
I would just echo that. I mean, Fabio and his team really nailed it. We had a lot of discussions about,
We did.
are we being conservative enough or too conservative? And back in March of 2020, when we were doing the budget for fiscal year 21, you know, it was just all unknown. And so that was pretty impressive. And then as far as our expense controls, I mean, our entire team has really buckled down and made do, but that's not sustainable over the long term. We've got to start investing back in our facilities. As James likes to say, we use bubble gum and duct tape on things sometimes, which works to get you through, but it's not a long-term strategy. And so we are really looking at our budget, and there's some purchases on the agenda today for capital items, and we're going to continue to make investments. So you'll see next year's numbers are probably going to be closer to the actual budgeted numbers instead of that significant $4 million savings.
We've operated at about $23, $24 million in expenses in the last few fiscal years. Being under $20 million is kind of really a constraint on what we've been able to do. So
Very good. Do anything there. Administrative finance, IT contract.
Yes, agenda item number 3 is approve the August 12th, that should be 2021 resolution of trustees of the Tulsa Airport Improvement Trust, authorizing the issuance and sale of general airport revenue bonds in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $65 million, consisting of one or more series to be designated trustees of the Tulsa Airports Improvement Trust, general airport revenue refunding bonds for the purpose of providing funds to refund all or a portion of certain outstanding general airport revenue bonds of the trustees. There's also a TAA that we'll go through. It's the same information, but these resolutions approve the issuance of up to $65 million in refunding bonds. It waives competitive bidding. It approves the execution of a bond purchase agreement, a supplemental bond indenture between TATE and BOKF-NA, issuance of a preliminary and official statement, the execution of a municipal bond insurance policy, an escrow deposit agreement, and this resolution and the other one approves the appointment of BOKF-NA as trustee and registrar of the bonds, appoints Hawkins, Delafield, and Wood as bond counsel, and also appoints Connor and Winters as special counsel to the trustees. The cost of these bonds, of course, will be paid out of the trustees' bonds. And we recommend. approval.
Have a motion,
Move approval, item 3.
Second.
any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Number 4.
Okay, item 4, approved purchase from Creative Bus Sales, Inc. for 2 11-passenger transit shuttle buses in the amount of $182,903 for TUL. One of the shuttle buses will contain a wheelchair ramp and associated ADA equipment in the amount of $92,409. And the second shuttle bus will be a standard lowered floor model in the amount of $90,494. This is purchased under state contract SW 07976. Management recommends approval.
Have a motion,
So moved.
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Page 5, receive quote and award contract for Deep South Equipment for 2 forklifts in the amount not to exceed $53,208.80. This is a per unit cost of $26,604 for 1 unit to be used at TUL and the second for RVS. We received 3 quotes from Deep South. Deep South Equipment was the lowest responsible quote, meeting the airport specifications. These units are $604.40 over our $26,000 budget. Management recommends approval.
So moved.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Number 6, receive quote and award contract for Overbuilt Trailer Company for 1 20-ton, 49-foot tag-along trailer in the amount not to exceed $42,000. We received 3 quotes. Overbuilt Trailer Company was the lowest responsible quote, meeting airport specifications. Management recommends approval.
Move approval, item 6.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Receive
Motion carries.
Received quote and award contract to Brighton Enterprises LLC, in the amount not to exceed $41,000 for repainting Airport Drive upper and lower terminal roadways with an option to paint portions of the parking garage. Kate received 4 quotes from, and Brighton Enterprises was the lowest responsible quote, meeting airport specifications. We did have 2 quotes that were received, 2 non-responses. Management recommends approval.
Quick statement. It seems to me that the exit signs within the parking garage can be a little bit confusing. They're not direct. So if we have them paint stuff within the garage, maybe we can paint some exit arrows and so forth on the tarmac. on the
Okay.
concrete.
We could
You
certainly.
get
take a
in there
look
and
at
the
that.
signs are kind of hard to read. They're far away. You go, do I go all the way down or can I turn here?
We could certainly revisit that and have them make recommendations. They do a lot of work for the city of Tulsa, so they certainly have the knowledge that can help us.
I think we could improve the direction. Given that statement, I'll move.
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Number 8, approve the purchase for Warren Power and Machinery, Inc., DBA Warren Cat, for Caterpillar Model 930M wheel loader for the price not to exceed $214,000 for RVS. This is being purchased under state contract SW 0192. The budget for this originally was $215,000. Management recommends approval.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Approved. Auto insurance.
Yes, approve auto insurance policy with preferred aviation underwriter for 1 year effective July 18th in the amount of $73,943, and we recommend approval. So moved.
Have a motion?
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
I
no.
have, I have a motion from Jeff Stava and a second.
Second from the mayor.
No, thank you.
462 carbon filters.
So-
What's that?
Yeah, accept quotes and approve purchase of 462 carbon filters for the airport's air handling units from Canfield USA Incorporated in the amount of $31,096. These are the filters that help clean the fresh air that's being brought into the building, especially on the ramp side where we're dealing with jet fumes. And so management recommends approval.
How long do these last? Just,
We need to do this probably about every 5 to 7 years.
that's a long time.
Yeah.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 11 is approve amendment 1 for purchase agreement, runway 18 right, 36 left, runway safety and pavement improvement project with ADB Safegate Americas LLC in the amount of $33,147.61. This amendment to the purchase agreement will purchase 6 new ACE units that will be attached or inserted into new regulators that have been purchased, and also 4 airfield guidance signs. Management recommends approval.
What's an AC unit? Just out of curiosity.
The ACE unit is basically the control panel inside the regulator that talks to our airfield lighting computer control system. So it turns them on, turns them off, ups and downs and all that.
Gotcha.
Otherwise, you need a very long string.
That's right.
Thank you, Joe. That made it crystal clear for
Wait
me.
a minute, string would be.
I actually remember those, and I have some of those actually. They're changed, not strings anymore. Move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Item 12 is accept FAA AIP grant 340009835/2021 in the amount up to $340,000 for the design of taxiway alpha connectors down at Riverside Airport. Management recommends approval. Or acceptance.
Approval item 12.
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Engineering capital improvements.
Item 13 is accept selection and approve award of contract for professional surveying services to Shimmer Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $65,000 for 1 year with 4 one-year options, effective August 1st, 2021. The consultant will review, traverse existing legal descriptions, correct errors in existing documents, survey leased areas, set property corners, survey tree height elevations for runway approaches. Consultant was selected for qualifications, and we received 7 different qualifications. There was a blanket purchase order that was issued in the amount of $20,000 to expedite the start of the work. The first year's fee is $65,000 plus a $20,000 BPO, or total compensation for the first year of $85,000. Management would recommend approval.
Approval item 13.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Item 14 is accept bid and approve award of contract to Fabritech Structures LLC for the arrivals canopy fabric replacement in the amount of $814,750. This contract includes all materials, labor to remove the existing fabric and install new fabric on the existing structure. 3 bids were received, ranging from $814,750. The most expensive was $1,175,000. We had budgeted $800,000 for this project, and that was 1.8% below the contractor's bid. Management recommends approval.
Have a motion,
So moved. How long have we had those things?
20 years.
That was
done
installed
at
in,
the US Open, wasn't it?
yes.
Wow, that lasted a long time. I move approve.
Longer than I remember.
Yeah, they seem new.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Property and development.
Yes, sir. Number 15 is approve a stop consent and recognition agreement between Tulsa Airports Improvement Trust, ET Tulsa LLC, and U.S. Bank National Association effective upon execution of the parties. This agreement provides certain assurances, representations, and warranties regarding the lease transaction in order to facilitate financing of the construction of the project. And we recommend approval.
I might add that this document, this approval and the TIF approval pretty much close out the Amazon transaction.
Right,
So
right.
we're in good shape.
Okay. Have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Number 16 is to approve sublease agreement with Southwest Aviation Specialties LLC for 20 years with 1 5-year option to extend the term at the standard rate effective September 1st.
Motion?
Move approval item 16.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
17 is to approve acknowledgement and consent to collateral assignment from Camtronics LLC to American Heritage Bank effective upon closing, but no later than September 30th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carried. And this is TAA business.
Yes, agenda item number 18 is approve the August 12th, 2021 resolution of the Tulsa Airport Authority relating to the trustees of the Tulsa Airport Improvement Trust, ratifying, confirming, and approving the issuance of sale by negotiation of revenue bonds in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed 65 million, consisting of one or more series to be designated trustees of the Tulsa Airports Improvement Trust, General Airport Revenue Refunding Bonds. And it's the same as was presented earlier. This is
Right.
just for TAA.
Okay.
We recommend approval.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any other business with TA, with TAPE or TAA? And do I have a motion to adjourn?
So.
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion
Thank you.
carried. Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot. And we got all my documents. So.
All right.